Listen, it's quite obvious to all of you, from social media and everywhere else, that dread has once again reached those record-breaking levels. Among many other things, we witnessed XRP drop below $2 per coin. However, I'm here to reassure you and provide some very good arguments about what's likely to happen in this situation, which I believe will ultimately be extremely beneficial for XRP, the cryptocurrency market, tech stocks, and everything else that has been experiencing significant corrections. Yes, exactly. Since I've had enough of the nonsense, I'm going to dispel a lot of the confusion and false information that is going around from all these news outlets telling people to sell all these hedge funds and panicky banks. Because that's why we're here. I want to provide you guys a little more accurate information that is actually supported by something that I believe will give you guys a ton of value and also make you guys some money. As we can see, most people are unaware that this is actually a fairly positive response to the biggest tariff wave in US history. We experienced one-day losses of more than 30% during earlier tariff waves. As you can see, however, the market is holding up quite well. As you can see, the US Tech 100, US 30, and US 500 are all declining by no more than 5% in a single day. Now, this is quite amazing in light of what has already transpired. Once more, this tariff wave is much bigger than any we have ever seen. We can see that we just witnessed history here, of course. The weighted average US tariff rate has increased to a staggering 29% since Liberation Day duties. Tariff rates during the Great Depression in the 1930s were higher than even the Smoot-Hawley Act. This is completely crazy. In the past century, tariff rates have never been higher than they are now, though I understand that many of you are saying, okay, great. Trump is genuinely attempting to set some records here. What does that signify? For me, what does this mean? How will this affect my bags, correct? If it wasn't obvious to you, it should now be. At the moment, markets are preparing for a recession. As speculators factor in a drop in global demand, oil prices are down about 7% this morning. The long-term implementation of these levies may result in a 40% drop in oil prices. Here is a graphic showing the declining price of oil. As we can see, inflation is predicted to increase by 5% to 5.5% if the average tariff rate stays at 29%. Since price hikes will at least be partially passed on to customers, UBS concurs with this estimate as well. The only nation where a 2% increase in inflation is anticipated is Canada. That's crazy. Since the US is by far the greatest trading partner, you can see that the US is at 5.5% and Canada is at 2%. Inflation in Mexico is likely to increase significantly. However, the long-term inflationary impact will actually work in many other countries' favor. In fact, it will probably lead to deflation, especially when you consider China, which is truly rather insane. This explains a price movement that seemed odd during yesterday's announcement. At first, markets thought that reciprocal tariffs could only be applied to the baseline 10% duty. This soon changed, though, when Trump started proposing numerous more tariffs that were even higher than 10%. The S&P 500 futures have dropped 200 points after their previous gain of 100 points. With the after-hours gap upward, it may be the biggest single-day decline in the S&P 500 since the 2020 pandemic lockdowns. Following the tariffs, more than $2.5 trillion in market capitalization was lost. That sum is substantial. $2.5 trillion is a substantial amount. Therefore, it certainly demands our attention. As you can see, $1.65 trillion was suddenly wiped off as soon as the stock market opened. I now believe that this will undoubtedly affect digital assets such as Bitcoin, XRP, and so on. It's likely that XRP will fall below $2 once more, possibly even a little bit below. Now, I should point out that I do have buy orders established for that, since I am aware that given all of the prior responses we have had to the tariffs, it is only a temporary issue, and I will shortly present the proof to you all. However, this also occurs at a time when Trump is not opposed to removing tariffs. The U.S. Senate, however, is attempting to exert pressure on Trump to do so. The U.S. Senate votes to lift President Trump's tariffs on Canada, as you can see. Intriguingly, this is actually approaching a vote at this very moment. Since Republicans now hold a majority in the Senate, the likelihood of this passing is incredibly low. Therefore, it will require a significant number of Republican voters to change this. Nevertheless, it's still an intriguing one. This post truly spoke to me, therefore I wanted to draw attention to it right here. Comes from Alex Becker. He is a well-known YouTuber and influencer in the cryptocurrency world. Explains, I'm not an expert, but I believe that people are overreacting to tariffs. With rates declining and unprecedented tax cuts, we are on the verge of the most explosive technological boom and rise in human output in history. With speculation at an all-time high, money will once again be free and inexpensive. And in general, I concur with what he is expressing here. I think he's absolutely right when you look at the next 6, 7, or even 8 months. Sure, the short term may be risky and a little uncertain, and we'll see a lot of sell-offs and Wall Street panicking, trying to get you guys to sell your bags and that kind of stuff. But you really need to consider what's going on here in the long run, because AI and technology will eventually cause productivity to soar. Consequently, increased productivity leads to increased revenue potential, particularly given AI's capabilities. You see, AI Ghibli art has been going viral among a lot of other things, like making animated films, creating art, or just making YouTube thumbnails, or just doing a lot of other things like coding, programming, and so on. AI is increasingly being used by news websites to create their stories on a daily basis. It seems like this is the kind of future we're moving towards, where, yes, productivity will skyrocket and many people will be able to just stop working, which is also kind of crazy. We must surely take it into consideration here as well if the long-term future is going to become increasingly productive. However, in general, I am aware of what you are truly considering, and XRP is this. This is what will take place in this situation. What's going on? What can we anticipate? Simply go back a bit, isn't that right? Rewind to March 3rd. Here, at the very beginning of the tariff warfare, we had a huge rally followed by a huge dump. And I do believe that something like this will occur once again, and that we will stabilize at a greater level than we are at the moment. We will experience these pleasant, tiny sell-offs in the past, followed by a wonderful surge and a nice correction. I take it we're going to level off around where we were before. This is exactly what also occurred in February and March, and it appears that this is also what will occur here in April. In light of that, you have a few choices, correct? You have two options. Either purchase the drop or watch it go down, low, low, and decide not to buy. Really, it is entirely up to you. You decide. We saw XRP drop to about 189 the last time this occurred, right? Or perhaps even a little bit lower, actually. But yes, like 189, we have seen XRP drop as low as 177 in the past, but we nearly always soar back up after reaching these levels. This is something you can see over here, right here. And so for that matter, as you can see, I personally have faith that we will be regaining our footing. Indeed, I believe that we will likely drop a little bit from where we are today, but you can see from my actions that I am buying a lot of things here. I'm not going to sell there again. Purchase, purchase, purchase. I will purchase something even less expensive than this. We get to 195, and I have set a trigger order. I have another trigger order prepared, so we move to 181. And I will repurchase if we drop below 180. Because you can easily see how much money you might earn on a move like that if we have anything like what we saw before, where we have a single 34% day gain, which I do believe is a very real possibility once we hit our bottom. In just a few short days, you could literally double your money, right? Therefore, it's possible that Wall Street is selling at the moment. Even though the stock market may have opened significantly lower, we can still profit from the bottoms we hit here.